Hi there, and welcome to In the Country, the Moonshine Sessions. I'm Dave Woods. On today's episode, we'll be visiting with Ontario country artist Augusta Ray. She released her first EP in 2016. She's opened up for big names like Big and Rich, the Roadhammers, and most recently, Gracias XO. She lives part-time in Nashville, and this year she'll be releasing a brand new EP. I'm very excited to talk with her. Of course, the show is called In the Country because of the podcast I've hosted the last 9 years, and it's subtitled The Moonshine Sessions because we're here at the Moonshine Cafe in Oakville. Let's head on inside and talk to Augusta.
Hey, again.
And we're here inside at the Moonshine Cafe with my guest, Augusta Ray. Welcome to the show, Gus.
Thank you, thank you.
It's so great to have you here, and let's talk for a moment about the Moonshine Cafe and just how wonderful a venue this is. So many great events go on here nightly and a lot of singer-songwriter stuff.
Well, yeah, I'm a member of the Nashville Songwriters Association International, and whenever they have events here and whenever I'm in town, I always try to make it out, but it's an awesome, cute little spot for, good vibes here for sure.
I love the vibe. Anybody who has not checked out the Moonshine Cafe better do that really soon.
Anybody who has not checked out the women's bathroom in the Moonshine Cafe, yeah.
I've heard it's quite something.
Yes.
I've heard it's quite something, yes. Yeah.
Legendary.
Exactly. Let's have a look at your CD here, which is Augusta Ray, self-titled from 2016. Now, this got you great exposure. How proud are you of this great release?
Well, you know what? I think the stuff on there represents me really well. You know, between co-writers and musicians that I worked on it with, it was just made by a group of like such amazing people. Produced by Jason Wyatt, who was a member of the country group from Nashville, the Lost Trailers. They got some top 40 hits. And stuff like that, so
they're amazing.
Yeah, Lost Trailers are phenomenal, and Matt Rovey, of course, who mixes and produces a lot of Dean Brody stuff, and so I think it represents me really well, you know, and it's just I was happy to work with such amazing people on it.
Now you're an amazing songwriter, and we're going to talk about songwriting shortly, and we're going to hear a couple of performances, including a couple. I think they're going to both be new songs.
Brand new stuff.
Brand new stuff.
Just for you.
All right, just here on In the Country, the Moonshine Sessions. That is awesome, Gus. We're going to get to those songs. I want to go back in time to sort of understand your musical influences. At the age of 4, your dad, who is a musician, great guy, got you into music, and he got you to some pretty cool people like Led Zeppelin and Grand Funk Railroad and Chicago, some of the greats of the time. Tell me about his influence and those artists influencing you at that early age.
Well, you know what? I just remember growing up in a musical home. There was always music playing in my house, whether it was Barney or Led Zeppelin. Like it was
the spectrum.
Yeah, you know, but yeah, Barney had the most impact.
Exactly.
Sour Pickle Face, legend.
You wear purple to this day for that reason.
No,
in honor of Barney.
Only black. I swear.
Okay.
My closet's black,
That's
black,
true.
red, black, red. But yeah, I just remember him spinning records of old Zeppelin stuff and Grand Funk Railroad and Hendrix, of course. And it's stuff I even still cover. That stuff just never grows old. But we'd always just be spinning records, and he'd have his guitar, and I'd have my little microphone that he had, and you know, we would just be jamming.
Now it's interesting because on the way to country there was another stop in between the artists we just mentioned. It was a classical part of your life. You played, this is incredible, at Carnegie Hall. How many people can say that?
Twice, I know.
Twice?
Yeah, I know. It was insane, but you know what? I think on the second, yeah, I did the whole Carnegie Hall thing. But I think on I was 12 years old, and I think that second performance, driving home from New York City, I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to pick up one of my dad's guitars. So the first thing I did, I didn't even unpack my suitcase. I picked up my dad's guitar and just started screwing around with it a bit, and then started writing my own music. And
wow.
It was at that point I realized you know, when you're singing classical music, you're singing pieces that have been around for longer than my grandparents have been alive, and it's like, can people really relate to that? And I think, you know, you're singing in different languages. I didn't know what I was saying half the time. I could, for all I knew, I could have been smiling and singing about like a dead person. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
You know, it's just, I feel with country music especially, and being able to play with the guitar and things like that, you can express yourself in so many different ways that are relatable.
You're telling stories. Now I know that it was the age of 9 where you wrote your first song. I think it was about your brother's girlfriend, correct me if I'm wrong, called When You Go Home?
That is true. And my dad's still nagging me. He's like, you should just pull that song out and totally like redo it. I'm like, that's not happening. But the funny thing is, When You Go Home, I remember I was so excited when I wrote it. I put it in my calendar the day I wrote it.
Okay.
And When You Go Home was written many years ago today, February 24th.
Wow.
It's weird.
That is pretty cool.
It's really weird, yeah.
I can't believe that, the coincidences in life, but that is cool. Now, you've gone on to write a ton of other songs since then. Let's talk about songwriting for you specifically. Maybe the question that a lot of people ask, where do you get your ideas from? What starts a song for you, Augusta?
Well, everyday life, really, I guess, is the main thing for me. But I write from titles. I was saying before we started recording that I write from titles. I have hundreds of titles in my phone, and when you go into a Nashville songwriter session and you're writing with hit makers, they're, the first line is, "What do you got? What do you have?"
Right.
And little 13-year-old Gus, who went into her first writing session in Nashville, was like, I don't know. And then I've kind of developed since then, and just kind of realized that you really do need to go in with an idea and not waste people's time. And I just kind of know where I'm at now, and I know what kind of songs I want to write. But I do write from titles.
From titles, that's amazing. Once you have the title, you've got obviously what the song's about. It's going to give you the direction of where you're going.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like there's something you're working towards, and I always write my choruses first. That's another thing I do.
That's cool.
I work backwards. That's weird.
That's awesome, because the chorus is the catchy part and kind of the whole. I love that thinking. And you mentioned there about kind of going in at your first session at 13. Co-writing sessions must be intimidating in the beginning, because you're going in most cases, to write with people who are experienced and have sometimes #1 songs. That's got to be a little unnerving the first couple of times.
Yeah, my first writing session in Nashville, I wrote with Tony Stampley and Gerald Smith. And Gerald Smith, he was on that show Hee Haw. If any of you remember Hee Haw.
Hee Haw. Love it.
He was the Georgia Quacker on Hee Haw. So he is this. The age difference between us is quite.
It's significant.
It's there.
Yeah.
So, a little 13-year-old Gus writing with this guy, and Tony Stampley, who's written stuff for, Hank Jr. and just Johnny Cash and Elvis and crazy people that he's worked with and whatever.
Yeah.
And I was super intimidated. But you know what? Once you get to know the guys, and it's like a therapy session. Okay. And it's really like a therapy session. And I also like to think of songwriting a little bit as speed dating. Like there's gonna not that I've done speed dating. I don't recommend it. But there's certain people that you're gonna click with, and once you find the people that you click with, you're gonna keep contacting them. And whenever you're in town, you're gonna be like, hey, I'm here. Want to write a tune? You're gonna find your tribe, and you're gonna want to keep them close, right? So you're gonna find the people that you.
That you're right with, you're comfortable with. I love the way you put that it's your tribe. We've got lots more to talk about with you on the show, including opening up for acts like Brett Kissel, your new EP that is on the way this year. We're going to talk about that. But you're going to head to the stage here at the Moonshine Cafe in Oakville in just a few moments to perform a new song called Vagabond, which is going to be on that new project that we're all excited about. Tell me a little bit about Vagabond, because the one thing I do know is that it's a personal song for you. This is about you.
Yeah, well, like you said, my first song I ever wrote was about one of my brother's girlfriends. Like, I used to write about relationships I never had, and episodes of Dr. Phil that I used to watch, but it's like, I'm not even kidding. But I've evolved since then, I like to think. Now I'm getting older, I'm experiencing my own things and in everyday life, and I kind of, Vagabond was really the first autobiographical song I ever wrote. It was the first song I really wrote about who I am, and whenever I perform it, I haven't performed it a heck of a lot because it's brand spanking new, but whenever I do, it's always the first song on my set, because I feel like it gives people a real insight into who I am as an artist, as a person, as a musician on the road all the time, living in a car basically, well, I don't live in a car, but you know what I mean.
Moving around, driving around in a car.
Woke up in a car, yeah.
But it's such a great title, Vagabond. Did that start with the title? Because that conjures up so many things, and it's just an interesting word. Yeah,
it really did. I'm a huge Bob Dylan fan, and I don't know, I watch a lot of Bob Dylan interviews and things like that, and Janis Joplin interviews, just old, the artists that influenced me, and he's, I don't know, he was doing an interview or something, and he said that word, and I'm like,
wow. It just
title right there.
That's a song. That's a title.
And then Miranda Lambert came out with that song "Highway Vagabond," and I'm like, no, you can't do that.
Thank goodness we can't copyright titles, right?
Exactly.
And you can change it all up. Before you head to the stage, tell me the first couple of lines, because I love them. I've heard the song, and you mentioned the Dixie Chicks in them.
Yeah. So "Landslide" is one of my all-time favorite Stevie Nicks songs.
Yeah.
So it's the first line is, I'm a Stevie Nicks enthusiast that listens to the Dixie Chicks when the landslide of my life brings me down. So you get that country, you get a little bit of rock and roll. It's such a classic song, but it's been done so many times it can be done in different ways. And
absolutely.
I think that line really, I'm a Stevie Nicks enthusiast, like it's about
Right.
me, right?
It says so much in a couple of lines right at the beginning. It says so much about you specifically, which is great. So I'll have you head up to the stage now, Gus, and we're going to hear Vagabond here on In the Country, the Moonshine Sessions. Plugging the amp in and really good. Yeah, exactly. Good people.
Enthusiast that listens to the Dixie Chicks when the landslide of my life just brings me down. I'm a sunlight gypsy with my strings in tune, a fellow sister of the moon. I can be right by your side, just not to be around. We've all got a place to hide when things get rough, but for me, home is where we part the bus. I'm a caravan dragging on an open road like Dylan was a rolling stone. The highway is my home, away from the home that I don't got. Little suitcase sleeping on an empty prayer. Don't know where I'm going, but I'm getting there. This guitar is all I need, I swear, to make the moments last. Don't you fall too hard, too fast, 'cause I'll be gone. I'm a vagabond. There's some things that I've come to know about living life where the wind blows and blindly throwing darts at a map. You can learn to love from miles apart, but in the end it'll only break your heart. But at least there'll still be rock and roll to blast. For girls like me, life's a road you travel on. You gotta get it while you can, before you up and carry on. I'm a caravan dragging on an open road like Dylan was a rolling stone. The highway is my home, away from the home that I don't got. Little suitcase living on an empty bed. Don't know I'm done, but I'm getting there. This guitar is all I need, I swear, to make the moments last. Don't you fall too hard, too fast, 'cause I'll be gone. I'm a vagabond. Oh, oh. I'm a caravan dragging on an open road like Dylan was a rolling stone. The highway is my home, away from the home that I don't got. Little suitcase living on an empty prayer. Don't know I'm done, but I'm getting there. This guitar is all I need, I swear, to make the moments last. Don't you fall too hard, too fast, 'cause I'll be gone. I'm a vagabond. Oh, oh. I'm a vagabond.
And we're back on In the Country, the Moonshine Sessions, here at the Moonshine Cafe with Augusta Ray. What a great performance of your new song, Vagabond, and thanks again for debuting the song here. This is wonderful.
Oh yeah, thank you so much.
I'm so glad that you were able to be here for our shoot today. And
Me too.
I mean, we got another song coming up from you in just a bit that you co-wrote, which we'll get to. Let's talk about Nashville. So you've made that big jump that a lot of artists dream of doing. Not, they can't always do it or they don't do it, but you live part-time in Music City.
It's funny because people ask me where I'm from. I'm from Toronto originally, but I do live in Nashville. I live in Nashville, but I'm not there as much as I'd like to be because
Okay.
I'm traveling throughout the year. So
Right.
I'm always opening for artists, always, whether I'm playing a songwriter show at the Moonshine or, playing, selling out a show with Brett Kissel most recently.
Yeah.
I'm all over the place. I live in moving vehicles. It's really fun.
That's
I'm a
lot-
vagabond, what can I
There
say?
you go. You live up to your song.
Yeah, but I moved to Nashville for the same reason a lot of artists, move to Music City, is to be a writer, and I write songs by day and
Yeah.
perform at night and things like that. So
When you're in Nashville, by being there as opposed to writing songs here, which you do as well in Toronto, is there a vibe there? Is there a certain magic for other artists who haven't made the trek down to Nashville yet? What is it about being there that maybe makes you a better writer or gets you more into it?
Well, you know, I've been lucky enough over the 3.5, 4 years I've been in Nashville. I've been lucky enough to connect with some amazing, legendary hit makers, and I think just for me, just connecting with the people that are, you know, so experienced and that have their own publishing companies, like waking up every day, grabbing a coffee and going to the studio is nothing for them. And for me, to go into that, you know, kind of their space or their sacred space is really like an honor. And I think I just go into every session hoping that a little bit of their talent will rub off on me. So I think, you know, I learn from the people that I write with, whether they're, you know, older or younger, as I was saying, my friend Gerald Smith. And
incredible.
Yeah. So.
You've opened up for some pretty big names, as I mentioned earlier in the show. Big and Rich, the Road Hammers.
The Road Hammers.
They're great guys. How much fun are the Road Hammers?
Oh, they're crazy.
Aren't they great? Jason and the gang? Oh my God.
They're ridiculous. I love them.
And most recently, Brett Kissel in Thunder Bay in early February of this year. Tell me about opening up, because of course he has such an enthusiastic crowd, so you're in front of a lot of huge country fans.
Oh, unbelievable. We sold out the Thunder Bay Community Auditorium, just under 2,000 people. It was ridiculous. Brett puts on such an energetic show. Came backstage, give me a hug before. Like, just such a great guy. His band is, I've never seen a band so tight.
Incredible. I mean, country artists in general, we mentioned the Road Hammers. Brett Kissel. They're just so wonderful and they're so welcoming and so supportive, which is wonderful.
Absolutely.
We love the community.
For sure, absolutely.
You have a new project on the way and another song from it, which we're going to hear in a few moments, which we're all excited to hear. Let's just talk in general about this EP that's coming out later this year. So some insight into it. What can we expect?
Although the last EP that I put out in 2016 represented me well, I think that this next project that I'll be releasing later this year will represent me the best.
Okay.
It's just stuff that I've been kind of hiding and keeping secret from you guys for a while, that I've just been going back and rewriting. And I take, obviously, John Lennon's one of my all-time favorite like writers and just dudes of all time.
Yeah.
He one of his interviews, he said that a song's never finished, only abandoned. So I kind of you know, went back and re-looked at all the songs that I've kind of, you know, developed and kind of just
revisited them,
reevaluated them lyrically, melodically, even like chord changes and things like that.
Wow.
So just it represents me really well, I think, and I'm excited to share with all of you guys.
That is so cool that you've gone back to songs from the past and made them better and brought them back to life, so to speak. I know the next song you're going to do, you co-wrote. It's called What Whiskey Can't Do. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to hear it. Tell us a bit about the co-writer and a bit about the song.
Okay, so I actually met the co-writer on What Whiskey Can't Do, Melissa Lynn, I'm trying to think now. I think it was at an NSAI event, National Songwriter event, and I think it was in Oakville as well. But yeah, we were friends for a couple years prior to us even writing the song, but I was just working on the song and it was almost finished, and I'm like, there's something missing. The chorus isn't good enough. The lines aren't as bright as I'd like them to be. So I brought Melissa in on it, and she just made it something totally different. And I think she brought this line in that is absolutely amazing, and you guys are just pay a little extra attention to it when I'm singing. But it's the line is, "I keep my composure by going insane," and she said that, and I'm like. Yeah, the chick's studying nursing right now, so she's like super bright, and I'm like, I need a smart person on this song.
That is a great line.
Yeah, she's an amazing writer, and she was actually the one who told me that the bathroom in the Moonshine was as amazing as it was.
It all comes full circle. I love it. It's
really
great.
Does,
it comes back
she's a great friend.
to the bathroom. All right, let's head to the stage. Augusta is going to return to the stage here at the Moonshine Cafe to sing What Whiskey Can't Do here on In the Country, the Moonshine Sessions.
Pick you right up and knock you back down. It can make you less lonely when no one's around. It turns fools into lovers and lovers to fools. There ain't nothing on earth that whiskey can't do. Make you remember, can make you forget. to live. It can stitch your heart up or break it in two. There ain't nothing on earth that whiskey can't do. Taking shots in the dark just to drown out the pain. Yeah, we go together like fire and rain, and I keep my composure by going insane. Your love treats me just the same way. I don't give a damn if it ain't the best way to numb all the hurt when your love starts to fade. You can't judge my decisions, you make bad ones too. There ain't nothing on earth that whiskey can't do. Taking shots in the dark just to drown out the pain. Yeah, we go together like fire and rain. And I keep my composure by going insane. Your love treats me just the same way. Pick you right up, knock you back down.
Another great performance from my guest, Augusta Ray. The song is called What Whiskey Can't Do, and that song plus Vagabond will be on her new EP coming out later this year. It's been so much fun, Augusta, chatting with you here, of course, at the wonderful The Moonshine Cafe in Oakville. The owner, John, so nice to let us film here, and this is incredible. So great to have you here, Gus.
Thank you so much.
Been a pleasure, and I can't wait for your EP to come out, and I know our fans listening, and they of course, before the EP comes out, can listen to your past EP right here from 2016, Augusta Ray, self-titled, and they can head to your website, AugustaRayMusic.com. Thanks again for being here.
Thank you so much, Dave.
Once again, my guest has been Ontario country artist Augusta Ray. I'm Dave Woods. Thanks for watching In the Country, the Moonshine Sessions. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in to this episode of In the Country, the Moonshine Sessions, of course at the Moonshine Cafe in Oakville. My guest, of course, Augusta Ray. Man, that was a great afternoon.
Thanks for having me, Dave. I appreciate it.
So much fun. I mean, getting to chat and hearing those brand new songs from the EP coming out later this year. I was really happy we got to debut them.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for this thing to come out. I'm dying for it to come out.
Oh, I can't wait. Everybody's going to love it. And let's head off. It's been great, man.
Let's grab a coffee or
Let's
something.
do it. What a great venue. I mean, every time I see it, it's such a special time.